Welcome to New English Stories. Learn English by listening to beautiful new stories.
The Mysterious Case of the Missing Necklace. In a small and peaceful town called Willowville, there lived a curious and friendly girl named Mia. She had a knack for solving mysteries, and everyone in the town knew her as the mystery solver. Mia loved helping people and figuring out tricky puzzles. One sunny morning, as Mia was strolling through the town square, she noticed a crowd gathered in front of Mrs. Anderson's house. Mrs. Anderson was a kind, elderly lady known for her beautiful necklace, which had a sparkling blue gemstone. The necklace was her most prized possession. Curiosity got the better of Mia, and she joined the crowd. Mrs. Anderson was in tears, explaining that her precious necklace had gone missing. She had last seen it the night before, and now it was nowhere to be found. Mia stepped forward and offered to help. She asked Mrs. Anderson to tell her everything she could remember about the necklace and the events of the previous evening. Mrs. Anderson explained that she had worn the necklace to a neighborhood gathering at her friend's house. She had returned home, carefully placed it on her dresser, and gone to bed. But when she woke up, it was gone. Mia asked if anyone else had been in the house that evening. Mrs. Anderson recalled that her neighbor, Mr. Johnson, had dropped by briefly to return a book he had borrowed. Mia decided to visit Mr. Johnson's house to ask him some questions. Mr. Johnson was surprised to see Mia at his doorstep but welcomed her inside. Mia asked him about his visit to Mrs. Anderson's house the previous evening. Mr. Johnson admitted that he had indeed been there to return the book, but he denied seeing the necklace or taking it. Mia decided to search Mr. Johnson's house just to be thorough. She didn't find the necklace, but she did notice something strange. Mr. Johnson had a collection of beautiful gemstones in a display case. She asked him where he got them. Mr. Johnson explained that he was a rock enthusiast and had collected the gemstones over the years. Mia carefully examined the gemstones but couldn't find any that matched the one on Mrs. Anderson's necklace. Feeling puzzled, Mia left Mr. Johnson's house and decided to visit the neighborhood gathering's host, Mrs. Davis. She wanted to gather more information about what had happened that evening. Mrs. Davis welcomed Mia and told her about the gathering. Many neighbors had attended, and everyone had enjoyed themselves. Mia asked if anyone had mentioned seeing Mrs. Anderson's necklace. Mrs. Davis recalled that Mrs. Anderson had shown off her necklace during the gathering, and many people had admired it. However, no one could remember seeing it after Mrs. Anderson had left for home. Mia thanked Mrs. Davis for her help and decided to visit the other neighbors who had attended the gathering. She asked them if they had seen anything unusual or remembered anything specific about the necklace. As Mia talked to the neighbors, she discovered a common thread in their stories. Several people mentioned that they had seen Mr. Johnson taking a keen interest in the necklace. Some even remembered him asking Mrs. Anderson if he could take a closer look at it. With this new information, Mia returned to Mr. Johnson's house. She asked him directly if he had taken the necklace. Mr. Johnson hesitated for a moment and then admitted that he had been tempted by its beauty but had not taken it. Mia suggested that they check the display case again. This time, as they carefully examined the gemstones, Mia noticed a hidden compartment at the bottom. Inside, they found the missing necklace. Mr. Johnson confessed to taking the necklace out of curiosity but had felt guilty afterward. He had hidden it in the secret compartment in his gemstone display case, thinking no one would ever find it there. Mia returned the necklace to Mrs. Anderson, who was overjoyed to have it back. She forgave Mr. Johnson, and he promised never to take something that didn't belong to him again. Mia, the mystery solver, had once again cracked the case and solved the mystery of the missing necklace. The town of Willowville celebrated her clever detective work, and Mrs. Anderson's beautiful necklace was returned to its rightful owner. Mia continued to be the hero of the town, always ready to help with her keen eyes and sharp mind whenever a mystery arose.
Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos.